Hey everybody, Sean here. Now today I'm across town at Sega of America, where Tim Jones from Rebellion has been kind enough to show me Aliens vs. Predator multiplayer. Tim, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yes, you as well. Now Tim, the first question I've got for you is, how have you taken the 3 separate campaigns in Aliens vs. Predator, where you've obviously got very distinct species you can play as, and combined all 3 of those into a multiplayer experience where you have things to worry about like balance issues and make sure everybody's, fair and getting along well and all that sort of thing?
Well, where to start? That's a big question. I guess the key thing for us is to make the most of the advantages and disadvantages of each species because they are so different. The Marine is probably the most familiar to players of first-person shooters because you're holding weapons, you're on the ground, but the other species like the Predator, he's got the advantage of stealth, his vision modes for spotting his prey in the darkness, zooms, and he can leap around the environment in a really agile fashion. And he's really strong with his melee combat with his wrist blades, but he's got his exotic weaponry as well. But probably the key thing for the Predator is that stops him being all-powerful is that he doesn't have any real rapid-fire weapons. He has to take his time about choosing his kill and doing it in the right strategic way. And we've also balanced it in making sure that the Predator has to go on the hunt for his own weapons before he can actually go in for the kill. Whereas the Marine will start tooled up with a pulse rifle right from the get-go when he spawns, which is a pretty formidable weapon. So the Marine doesn't really have to worry about feeling underpowered in multiplayer. We've balanced it so that he's got just as good a chance as anyone else, particularly with his motion tracker, so he can pick out his targets in the darkness and, he's always got a sense if someone's sneaking up on him from behind. But then we've got the Alien, of course, who's a very different beast entirely, who can crawl on walls, ceilings, leap around the place, move really, really fast, but doesn't actually have any ranged weaponry at all. He's kind of his own ranged weapon, if you like, but has to leap to the prey and claw them to death or use his tail or his teeth. But yeah, once he does get up close, then his target's pretty much toast.
Now, one of the things that we were talking about earlier is that in the multiplayer experience, you're frequently jumping between these different species. So how have you made it so that players aren't confused with a brand new control scheme every time they switch between, say, the Marine and Alien and whatnot?
Well, it's certainly been a challenge, but what we've tried to do, in spite of the differences between the species, is keep the controls as consistent as they can be. So, the basics, moving around on the left stick, looking around on the right stick, the same controls for the melee combat for each, so they've all got the same block control and the fast attack. Only the Alien and Predator have the heavy, slower attack, but they all have that kind of commonality between them. They've all got the same action button, the same jump button, the same button to use health and that kind of thing. So once you've got to grips with the basics for each one, you should be able to swap between them with relative ease.
Now, let's talk about the multiplayer modes that you guys have in there. You've obviously got the old standbys, deathmatch, team deathmatch, but you've also got some very unique ones in there as well. I think probably my favorite that I got to play was Infestation. Can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, we seem to be getting such a great response to the Infestation mode. Basically what happens in that mode is everybody starts as a Marine and one player is selected at random to be an Alien. And when that Alien kills a Marine, then that Marine comes back as an Alien. And every time an Alien kills a Marine, then they come back as an Alien. So it's got a really kind of tense vibe to it. Everyone starts maybe grouping together as a bunch of Marines, feeling a little gung-ho, thinking they can take down that Alien. And maybe they can do initially, but as soon as they start getting picked off and there's more and more Aliens there, the tide very quickly turns and the mood descends into sort of panic amongst the Marines, and until you get down to the last man standing situation. It's a pretty frightening experience for that last Marine there, but if you can survive for a while, you'll get the lion's share of the points that way. But one of the other advantages of that mode is even when you die as a Marine, you come back as an Alien, so it's still kind of like winning. You still get to carry on playing and get your revenge on those people that are still doing better than you.
Another mode with a pretty similar theme to it is Predator Hunt, where you've got the one Predator lurking in the shadows going after the Marine. What's that mode all about?
Well, yeah, like you say, it's a similar theme, but it's got a very different vibe. Where Infestation probably captures a lot of the mood of some of the classic scenes in Aliens, Predator Hunt really kind of captures a lot of the mood of the first Predator movie in particular. You know, everyone starts as Marines, and one player is a Predator, and only the Predator can score points by killing the Marines. And it's really in the Marines' best interest to work as a group to try and take down that Predator, because they'll survive better that way. But when one Marine manages to take down the Predator, then they become the Predator, and so they get the chance to go on the hunt, score the points, and yeah, it's quite a tense experience, but really empowering as well.
And last but certainly not least, there's the Survivor mode. What can you tell us about with that one?
Well, Survivor mode is the one multiplayer mode which involves actual AI. It's available to play in single player as well, but in multiplayer you can play with up to 4 cooperative Marines against oncoming waves of like ever more challenging and more difficult AI-controlled aliens, and it's really just a fight for survival. See how long you can last, see how many aliens you can take down before you die. And again, I mean, that really kind of captures that panicked sort of situation that you see from so many of the classic moments in the movies. And it's probably the most intense experience in the game, but one that, you know, love keep coming back to again and again and again.
All right, Tim, well, I've got to say, it's been a pleasure sharing the experience of being slaughtered by aliens all morning. But before I let you go, I've got to ask, when is Aliens vs. Predator out, and on which platforms will it be out on?
Well, Aliens vs. Predator is out on the 16th of February, and it is available for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC.
All right, Tim, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, there you go. Aliens vs. Predator. Keep an eye out for our review in a couple weeks.